I love reading. It's true. I'm reading multiple books at the same time right now. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Books. What genre, you may be wondering? Spiritual reading. But first,
I'm Jenna.
I'm Beth.
We're so glad you're here.
So glad.
We're going to be talking about spiritual reads today. First and foremost, I want you to share your number one spiritual read of all time.
Yeah, just one.
Down below in the comments. I know that's very difficult to do.
Actually, I prayed about this. I took some time to consider. I'm not joking. I was like, because I love to read, and I often recommend a number of different titles.
Totally.
You might think right now, I know Beth's favorite spiritual read.
I thought I knew.
You don't.
I didn't know.
Jenna didn't.
Nope.
So I'm going to surprise everybody today because I have a new favorite.
New favorite's going to blow your mind.
Yeah, so we each brought one. That's it. Just our number one favorite reading and all of our wisdom and insights about engaging with spiritual reading.
Okay, here's the one caveat. You may not, and we were not allowed to choose the Bible.
Obviously.
Right.
You guys.
That's the number one of all time,
Yes.
forever and ever.
Yeah. Like it's a given. You know what I mean? It's like when you say, who's your favorite saint? And then some smarty pants
Mary.
is like, the Blessed Mother. And you're like, okay.
I mean, she is like my favorite.
Obviously, she's
know.
everybody. She's
She's not everyone's favorite, to be honest.
Get to know her. She'll become your favorite. You know what I mean? So like we're gonna just put her where she belongs in our hearts forever and ever. But like, same with the Bible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Bible's number one.
Yeah.
Also, now that we're saying this, I'm like, shoot, the catechism also should be up there. But neither of us.
That's not on our list. That's on our
Neither
list.
of us.
Spiritual reading. I feel like that's like.
I could read the catechism for spiritual reading. You know?
I mean, I guess. Yeah. It's not like I haven't ever prayed with the catechism. I prayed with the catechism last night.
Wow.
Not because I'm like that. Someone said this thing in a talk and I was like, whoa. It like really moved me.
Wow.
And I was like praying about it, you know?
The category is favorite spiritual read that you would recommend to anyone.
Anyone.
Beginner.
Yeah.
Master. Everything in between.
Okay. Jenna?
Beginner would be like me and master is like St. John of the Cross. Would I recommend this book to St. John of the Cross? 1000%. So here's my pick. It's called Time for God by Father Jacques Philippe.
You guys weren't ready for that.
If you don't know Father Jacques Philippe, you need to know him. He is incredible. He's French. He is very amazing. He is my spiritual master, and he doesn't even know.
He is a spiritual master, and he distills. He's like Einstein. He's the Einstein of the spiritual life.
Okay.
He distills these high-level concepts. This is divine simplicity, and just makes it. He teaches them to 5-year-olds like us.
Yeah, you know? I am a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
This is like my personal roadmap to enter into mental prayer.
Whoa.
By Father Jacques Philippe.
Are you guys taking notes? This is how you do spiritual reading. Do you know what I mean? You're not reading for quantity.
Yeah.
You're reading for quality.
Yes.
The idea behind spiritual reading is that you would be captivated by something, intrigued by something, agitated by something.
Yes.
And that would be your entry point into prayer, which is dynamic relationship with God. You would actually set the book aside and then you would engage in prayer. You would be present to God, who is always present to you. It's not about how much you read or how much you learn. It's about how it leads you into that dynamic relationship.
That's what it does for me, is it motivates me to discover more about the Lord and myself in prayer. I am pushed by the simplicity of just saying faithfulness to mental prayer is a school of freedom. I'm like, yeah, I'd like to go to that school, please. So I want to be faithful to my mental prayer.
Yeah.
I want to be free. One sentence, you guys.
I mean, I want to do a holy hour with School of Freedom.
1000%.
Sign me up. What is the tuition for this School of Freedom?
So Father Jacques Philippe will just lead you into prayer, invite you into prayer. It's no longer a chore. It's not something you have to do, which sometimes you do, but he'll excite you into the moment, which is really beautiful and helpful for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jenna.
You're welcome. What about you, BD?
Well, I would say my all-time recommendation for people for the past 15 years has been another Jacques Philippe title called Searching for and Maintaining Peace. But listen, this is not a Father Jacques Philippe fan video.
It could be.
Even though it could be.
Yeah.
So I wanted to mix it up. And so I'm sharing the most impactful spiritual read that I've had. I read it recently, but it's probably the most impactful spiritual book I've ever read since I read Searching for and Maintaining Peace like 15 years ago. And that is The Context for Holiness. Look at her. Look at Saint Therese. Isn't she a sweetheart? So this book, the subtitle here is The Psychological and Spiritual World of Saint Therese of Lisieux. And my spiritual director recommended it to me. I had actually kind of heard it. Does this ever happen to you? You hear about a book, you kind of see it, it's on your radar. But there came a point where I had to read this book. Mostly because my spiritual director told me. And this book has changed my life. And that's not an exaggeration. This book for me solved some of the most, what I felt were impenetrable or immovable. Some of the things that I was like running up against in prayer, things like my personality, my temperament, my sensitivity, my past, my psychological wounds. This gave me a language for it. And it helped me to not feel like those things were like a millstone around my neck. Like I'm combating these things all the time. I'm pushing past these things. And instead gave me a formula, a roadmap, if you will, for what to do with that. And the title alone really explains, it gives away the answer, which is that your life, my life, is the context for my holiness. I don't need a different life, that God is actually using my psychological wounds, my temperament, my past, my sensitivities. He's using all of those things to make me a saint. They're not obstacles to me becoming holy. They are the context in which I will become holy. And gave me at the same time this like power, energy, hope that I could do it. It has awakened in me like a grit and a fortitude that I didn't know I had.
It's so cool.
And like taught me how to do it. That's the thing. It taught me how to do it. When I started reading this book, I read the first chapter. It so changed my life. I put it down for like a month.
Wow.
And then my spiritual director was like, pick it, finish the book. And I'm like, I'm still on this one thing that has solved multiple questions, which is really one question. Like, how do I become holy while being me? How? And this book, chapter 1, solved it for me.
Wow.
That is not overblown. That's how much sanity it gave me.
Wow.
How much peace. Yeah. So this is the book, particularly if you've been at mental prayer for a little while, you've maybe been practicing a daily discipline of prayer for a while, and you start to encounter yourself as well as God in prayer. This is a great book for you.
Okay, love that.
Yeah.
Now, Beth cheated and brought an honorable mention.
Did I cheat or did I anticipate your needs, Jenna?
She knew. She brought it and told me what it was, and I was like, obviously.
Yeah.
Both of our honorable mentions.
We have one honorable mention.
Yes.
So we will allow you one honorable mention in the comments.
Yes.
And that is a book called Divine Intimacy. Look at this beautiful book. Isn't that? I mean, it looks like a spiritual classic because it is.
Yes, 1000%.
Divine Intimacy by Father Gabriel of St. Mary Magdalene, OCD, another Carmelite, for the win. This book is a daily
meditation
on basically everything.
Everything.
It is about the spiritual life. It's about our humanity. It's about how to think, how to be.
The Trinity.
What to do. The Trinity.
Virtue.
The Blessed Mother. Virtues. The sacraments. I mean, how to think, how to be, and what to do should be the tagline. I just came up with that. But isn't that your experience of it?
Yeah, it's incredible. I will open this up.
Yeah.
And how I use it is when I start in my mental prayer time, I set aside intentional prayer time. I'll get out my journal and I date it and I'm like, Lord, please help, because I don't know what I'm doing ever. And then I open this book and
what?
what?
I don't think I've ever read that one.
Really?
Excuse me. The First of all, the title of today's entry, 207, is Let Us Prepare for Union.
Wow.
What? Now then there's a little, what would you call this? Like an invitatory that he calls presence of God, which is a way to enter into it. We're disposing our hearts and minds to whatever the meditation is. Are you not going to read that? I was trying to prepare my heart for union, yeah.
Oh, Jesus, grant that I may derive great profit from the grace of union with you.
Yes.
Which you offer me daily in Holy Communion. Union, daily.
Daily.
What? Okay, so then I just contemplate that. I'm like, I am in union with the God of the universe right now. How do I even keep reading from there? Sometimes I just sit with that and I write it down sometimes, and I'm just there in it with the Lord.
This is the thing. You read until you have a moment like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
For me, I would have stopped at the title. I'm not joking. Let us prepare for union. First of all, talk about awakening my expectation and faith. Like, this is what we're doing? Wait, this is the point of life, is that I'm preparing for a union in God with heaven?
Wow.
With God in heaven? You know what I mean?
I didn't know what you meant the first time. Okay, BD, how do you use divine intimacy?
Yeah, I just want to be totally upfront. This is not a daily devotion for me. I go through seasons of it, and I devour it, and I need it, and then I forget about it, or I get tired, or I avoid it, or yeah. So I'm in a season of just coming back to divine intimacy, so I'm trying to get in the habit of, like, do I do this in the morning, right when I wake up? I've tried that before. Do I want to do it as a part of my daily mental prayer? But I would use it much like you do, which is I read and I try to stay with one thing.
Yeah, it definitely isn't like a morning read to me. It's like extremely intense. To me.
Yeah.
I am a little baby 2-year-old who understands nothing, and I need very simple invitatory language. And this is like theologically dense, but
it's meaty.
Somehow it speaks to me. Like, it's not too much for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Because I do find that it's, even though it's mature, it's dense, like, because it's true, it's solid, but it's simple.
Yeah.
So he's also exceptional at images or analogies.
Insane.
And then you just think about that image or analogy. I'm still thinking about one about the storm at sea, because it was a Sunday gospel. And the presence of God, the invitatory, was saying, Jesus, I invite you into the little boat of my soul.
What?
I'm still praying about that. I probably read that a year ago. And that's just one line from the presence of God.
Yeah, so it is based off of the pre-Vatican II liturgical calendar. So that doesn't really bother me because I read the daily readings, but this sometimes doesn't line up with the daily readings. It does have feast days, so it will go through the Feast of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, or various feast days throughout the whole year. But it is based off of, on those Sundays, off of the pre-Vatican II calendar. Which again, I'm like, Lord, this is for me. All of this is always just for me. I don't need to have a different thing that lines up with the daily readings. Like, those are beautiful, and you speak to me there and you speak to me here.
Yeah.
It's all you.
Both and.
Yeah. So this book I recommend to everyone who does typically have a habit of mental prayer.
I think what was so special about this book for me is that it taught me things about the faith that I didn't even know to seek out. So the formation is so robust, so rich, that, like, if I have a problem or a question, I only know how to look at it from this one way and try to find the answer from the information that I already have. But actually what I need is this virtue over here that seems totally unrelated to this thing. But when I read about justice, I'm like, whoa, that has a lot to do with this other thing.
Yeah.
So it just rounds out our formation, I think.
This has formed so much of my Catholic understanding, which has been so beautiful. I'm like, oh my gosh, the church and the teachings of the church are so rich, and I get to taste a little bit more of it with this book, and it can be a lot more. Again, like, there's so much good meat in here to form us and to teach us and to help us ultimately, because formation ultimately should lead us to a deeper love and devotion to the Lord. And that's what this book does for me.
I want to just add, remember how to think, how to be, what to do, how to pray.
Yes.
It does teach us how to pray. Remember we talked about it's a spiritual treasure, and it costs a little treasure, but there is a free PDF of it online,
which we'll link down below.
Yeah, so if you want to make the investment, I love to have the book.
Yep.
It's like, it's really precious. I don't write in it. Like, I just know it's going to last me for the rest of my life, and I can revisit it anytime, and it will be fresh every time. But yeah, for on the go, because I never want to lug this. I don't travel with it. I use the PDF.
Because you're lugging your Bible already.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta bring that Bible.
Because that's my number one that's not even on the list. You know?
All right, I can't wait to hear your guys's down below.
And an honorable mention.
You may use one honorable mention.
One.
Just one. Remember to like this video. We're going to be putting out more content like this. So also share down below if you have any questions you'd like us to answer. If you want us to share our very favorite saint besides Mary, we will.
Don't get me started on the Blessed Mother. You know what I mean?
All right, we'll see you next time.
Happy reading. Happy praying.
Good. Bye.